deixou o cabo com gosto de quero mais. Vai, bola vai, a novinha vai. Descendo, descendo, vai.
Hello.
Hello guys, it's me, Clown, and I'm here with Ruby again in our Clownrubi podcast. Ruby Clown would sound better.
Nah, Clownrubi, because that's the real YouTube name.
Well, it's faded Clownrubi. I just love the name that I got.
Well, I would have put Faded Clownrubi, but I feel like that's a bit long for a podcast. Like, Faded Clownrubi podcast, like, seems a bit long, so.
Yeah, Clownrubi just sounds better. But that's how we go, and that's how we roll. But before we get into like the murder mysteries, we did live stream it earlier, but we had to delete it
because every cunt was in the house.
Yeah.
But now it's almost 10 o'clock and it's quiet, relatively quiet anyway.
And we've got our coffees.
I'm actually gonna move this back so the fan isn't blaring.
Bar cola as well.
Yeah, Burrs Cola.
It always seems to be when it comes to a podcast, we're never like drinking alcohol.
I can guarantee you we're going to need the toilet a shit ton.
Yeah, probably. But
like, fair enough, when we live stream, we do about an hour and a half live streams a day, and every time we go to the toilet at least 5 times each.
Yeah, it's gonna be. We should start taking breaks.
It's a fucking coffee, innit?
But we do take breaks when we go for a fag. But hopefully this stream's a lot longer than last time.
I'm going to. Where's my notes? Just check. I'll switch accounts again.
Aye.
Just check. Just to be on the safe side, you know what I mean?
But where?
Peter's Family Mascot. Oh, that was uploading a while ago. Yeah, we'll be watching that.
Yes. Yeah, we were going to go on to. Before we started doing the murder mysteries, we were going to start doing. What do you call it? Like, just talking a bit about school and like subjects that we like, and also what YouTubers we watch as well. I feel we've watched recently quite a lot, and that's been They Will Kill You
and Mr. Nightmare.
Yeah. You tend to watch them before we go to sleep, so it's like
that's thing. I watch them before we go to sleep, mainly because it's the type of videos where it's like storytelling. Like, especially with like Mr. Nightmare, he does like top 10 scary stories or top 10 kidnap stories or whatever it is.
Same with
and I feel like that's why I like them before we go to sleep.
They Will Kill You. His voice, it's like,
or no, Mr. Nightmare does like
camp stories and
kind of stories that you tell around the campfire.
Yeah, I'm saying Mr. Nightmare. He does They Will Kill You.
He does top 10 or top 8 or
but he's actually, I don't know what it is, but I just like his voice. Like, when he's telling the story, like, it's actual facts and true stuff. So, like, we watched one recently about, like, top 10 foods that could kill you.
Most of them, to be quite fair, most of them were fish related.
Yeah, like
I mean, for you, any fish can fucking kill you, except like haddock.
and cod, but
like these are like fish that can kill everyone.
Yeah,
if you eat like a puffer fish skin or something.
It's the kidneys and glands, I think it was. Like, it's a delicacy. Yeah, in Japan, and they kind of eating it. It was about a family that I've had it before. And then they ate it on Christmas Eve, I think it was. And 2 of them died, but some of them were severely ill over it. But there was like loads, and there was one about a decomposing shark as well. Like shark.
You also did ones where it's like top 10 animals that can eat a human alive.
Yeah.
Like, and there was one with a snake. The guy was missing.
It was two stories.
Like they cut open the snake's stomach.
Yeah, but
and
that's
the guy just come out whole.
That's because like boa constrictors and adders and what anacondas, like their environment's been taken over by civilization. So like it's like in Australia. One of my friends, Bleak, she's from Australia. She was telling me a story like a while back before I met Cole and stuff, and I was real good friends with her. And she was into the same music as me. That's why we clicked, if you know what I mean. But we were good friends, and she lived in Australia. And she sent me. It was pretty funny. We're talking over Messenger, and she woke up a day early to go to work and stuff, and she was like, Owen, I can't go to work. And I'm like, why can't you go to work? You're supposed to be at work at like 6, but because I stayed up all night making music and like just prattling about on my computer basically, or watching films, like I never had a decent sleep pattern, so I was up during the night instead of during the day, and that was the only person I used to speak to. And my mate Mandy, but Mandy like stopped talking, you know, she's doing her own things. But she was like, I can't go to work, and I'm like, why? She was like, oh, animal control has to come out. And I'm like, ooh, this must be serious, what's going on? I thought it would be something like a black widow spider, you know, around the house, because every Australian person bangs their shoes before they go into the house, or they like shake out it, you know, before they put them on, just in case, because black widow spiders have a case of like hiding in, you know, dark places and cramped places. But there was a fully grown crocodile laying underneath her truck, and that's because it was a very hot day. It was like summer for them, so like temperature rose quite heavy, and it's already a warm place anyway. But
that's the thing, Australians get the coldest winters but the hottest summers.
Yeah, but
whereas Scotland, like, it's always fucking cold.
That's the thing, like animals like that, like crocodiles and pythons and all the sort of different snakes, like they have a tendency to go into people's houses because it's the coolest place. So they try to take down their temperature. So it's like people in Australia are used to seeing that. But for like pythons and anacondas, like there's really no reported deaths a lot by a snake bite. It's very rare. Or by a shark, like shark attacks. It's very rare. But anacondas, if they cannot find food and you've got your back to them, they will literally strangle you to death, and basically you will suffocate before you even know it, because obviously they contract their muscles, so it squeezes everything together. But that's why that Indian dude died. But also they don't when they go into, like, an animal goes into their body, they don't straight away get killed by the acid and decompose. It stays there for a month. So a snake can be fed for a month on, you know, a deer or a mouse or whatever, because it doesn't dissolve as fast. But there was two. There was a lady who got swallowed whole, and also a guy. But his bones were broken because I think, like, it's true that the snake couldn't even get the human body in. But
yeah, they broke the guy's shoulders, because the shoulders are obviously the broadest bit of the human body. Like, you had to crush his shoulders inward so he was smaller so he could eat it.
Yeah, it's creepy though. There was one about...
To be quite fair, I've always wanted to pet a snake, but if I pet, like, a wild snake, bitch, I'm out. I am gone.
Like the same with that dude who got bit by a I think it was a golden lancehead, which is probably one of the world's deadliest snakes. He got bit in the face, but he had to go straight to hospital for anti-venom. And like, that's a bit fucked up, if you know what I mean. Like, I would not keep a snake. The only snake I probably would keep is probably a grass snake, because I know they're not venomous. So
I'd keep a snake, but one that I know isn't venomous.
yeah. But my mum had a friend who had a lot of snakes. Yeah, I think he actually had a king cobra or something. But my mum was telling me about it, that like, she's not scared of snakes, it's the feel of the skin, like the scales, like that she doesn't like. So even if I was to get like a chameleon or a Komodo dragon, not a Komodo because they're dead, but I mean like a beard-headed dragon, like, I think my mum wouldn't want to touch it because of the skin.
That's the thing, I do want a chameleon. My niece has one, and they're awesome.
Oh, I think I told you this. My friend Jay had a chameleon, and he was a bit of a absolute cunt. He killed his chameleon after having it for a month or two. The chameleon was sat on his table, like next to his TV, and because they have that reaction to camouflage to change the colours, obviously, and he was flicking through the TV and he noticed that it was changing its colours, but it's a toll on them, like it affects them. And he like rings me up and he's like, oh, you gotta see this. So I go up to his house and I'm sat watching TV with him, and he's like, this is when he first got it, and I used to hold it, and like the only weird thing about holding it was the claws, like they would dig into you, so having a thick jumper on would be alright. And it used to sit on my shoulder and go around, and even once it tried to lick my hair, which the feel of the tongue was like a sucker, like a plunger. Felt weird, but anyway, he's like changing the TV. He was like, oh, I'll show you what I mean. So he started changing the TV and he was changing its colours. And I was like, oh, that's actually pretty amazing. Every time it came on to something like trees or something, it would change its colour to like green. But it's like very weird. It's like you know in flexiglasses where you move them and then it changes picture. It was like that. But I left anyway to go home, and then he rang me 2 days later going, oh, my chameleon's dead. I'm like, how? And he was like, oh, I thought I'd do a party trick with it. I was drinking and smoking, so I was watching TV and I got bored, and I thought, what if I changed the TV? So he was changing the TV, and he was changing it that fast that the chameleon was trying to catch up. Just passed out, died. So
that's the end. Chloe's got a chameleon, and it was shedding its old skin. And because Chloe's never had a lizard, she's never had a snake, she's never had anything like that, when it was shedding its skin, she woke up the next day morning and thought she had another one.
Yeah.
She thought it was pregnant.
Yeah, they do. That's sometimes like the snake will have a hollow shape of an actual other snake, so it looks like another snake, if you know what I mean. And like a snake farmer had one, and he actually got bitten, died shortly after. But his snake shedded, and he went into the cage, and he was like, oh, this is a bit odd, why is it not moving? Because it was like relatively new to like doing it, and I think he wasn't the snake farmer, his dad was, but his dad went on holiday and said, right, you know how to handle them, so you clean out the cages basically. And I think it was like feeding time, so he was like putting live mice in, and he put this mouse in and the snake didn't move, so he was like, what the fuck's going on? So he started prodding it with like you're not supposed to, but he was like prodding it with one of these like pole things, the handle poles. It's like a clamper, a litter pick, I should say. He started poking it, and the snake came out of the left side of him and bit him right on the hand. But he did not feel it at all. And then he turned back, the snake had detached. And he looked back and he was bleeding. He was like, oh, I probably caught it on cage or something. He didn't really think much of it. And then he realised, the snake skin was what it shedded. So he took that out, threw it away. And after like a couple of hours he was feeling drowsy and like weak. And he thought it must have been, because it's a hot day, I might be dehydrated but I don't feel it. And stuff like that. And then he passed away by falling asleep. So yeah. It's the same with a Komodo dragon. When they bite an animal, you don't go straight after them, because Komodo dragons are actually probably one of the slowest lizards, but they can run up to 30 miles per hour. That's fast to us, but in the animal kingdom that's not fast. So they'll bite an animal and leave it, and then they'll follow the blood trail because they bleed out, and it's got parasites and also a paralysing saliva, so it's like a poison, and that's what they basically do. Anyway, that was off topic. But
yeah, we were supposed to be talking about school.
Ryan, you said you've got a story about school.
I do, but first of all, I want to talk about our favourite subjects.
Okay.
So what was your favourite subject at school?
Out of all, English. I used to love writing stories and reading books, so I was probably a geek. But the only reason I started reading books is because I have severe dyslexia, so it was like I would have to read a book over and over again to understand what was going on. And I think my first ever book was Jacqueline Wilson's Tracy Beaker. So I was into like all that girly stuff. I don't know why, but it's like I grew up with 2 sisters and a mum, and the only influence I had was my brother, but he was a puffer, so well, bisexual, but I'm not having a joke, but he was more feminine than most people I ain't. So
that's the thing, mine was maths, but I hated maths at the beginning. S1, S2, I hated it. I mean, I was never allowed in the class. And then I got put in what we call base, which is basically for like bad kids or people that need extra support. And I got put in there as a bad kid, if you must. But I got put in there and I got my national for maths and like English and a bunch of other subjects. And then I went back to the teacher and I asked if I could go back into his class, and I was probably a year's worth of work in front of my class, because I was in the lowest set, but in reality I shouldn't have actually been in the lowest set.
Yeah.
But they put me in it anyway, and after that, me and the teacher actually got on quite well.
Well, it's the same with me. Like Mr. Carney was relatively quite old. He was an old man, like mid-70s or mid-60s, I should say. But he was generally probably one of the nicest teachers I have ever met, because when it came to me in school and I couldn't read out, with my ADHD as well, it was like I would kick off at the most slightest thing, and he would settle me down by just like, "Oh, Owen, you're being a bit of a cunt, shut the fuck up."
That's the thing, like my maths teacher was actually my older brother Lucy's maths teacher, and Lewis at school, like, he's got ADHD as well, but Lewis is very hyperactive.
Yeah.
Lewis is, like, he's the class clown. And, like, Mr. Sweeney hated Lewis. Like, at first he hated me and all, because he had all my siblings in his class. And he hated me and all, because I think in his mind he automatically assumed I was like Lewis.
Yeah.
But in reality,
He saw your name on the register.
that's the thing, I'm actually, like, believe it or not, I'm actually the quietest one of my siblings, which is surprising. But I've got 6 brothers, and, you know, it is what it is. But
well, I've
if you're
only
looking
got,
for that other pillow, it's behind you.
I've only got one older sibling and, well, 2 older siblings, a sister and a brother, and then a younger sister. But, like, the way we grew up is, like, we all went to Calder High. Fiona left Calder High because she moved up to Northumberland, so she was away from my mum. But she did live with us until she was the age of 10, and it was her decision to move and live with her dad, because I don't think it was because she was spoiled, but Fiona was always spoiled. I would say that, but I think it's because
It's always the same with the youngest though. Like,
Well,
I'm the youngest, and I'm not necessarily spoiled in the sense where it's like, if I see something and I didn't get it, I kick off.
Fiona weren't like that, but
I can say I want something, and if I didn't get it for a birthday, I'll get it for a Christmas, or if I didn't get it for a Christmas, I'll get it for a birthday.
Like,
so it's
with our family, we had to learn, like, what we could have and couldn't have. Like, our first console was a PS2, and that's what Nick bought out of his first paycheck. You know, that was our privilege. Just that. And I have so many memories of me and Nick just playing PS2 together.
That's the thing, like, all of my siblings knew, like, if we wanted something, and my mum would always tell us she couldn't afford it. She wouldn't lie to us and be like, oh, I'll get it.
Yeah,
and
but
then
my
she
mum
didn't.
was the
But,
same. And
like, our privileges were our phones, because we all got our first phones at the same age. We all got them
15.
about 8 or 9.
Okay.
Because that was at the point where we were always out, all of us.
Yeah,
But-
well, mine was age of 15. Haley got phones and stuff. I don't know what it was, but my mum and my sister had a real close bond anyway. Me and my mum didn't really have a close bond until I hit like 15, 16. But that's because I would go out. I didn't care. I was a person that went out on a Friday night, got absolutely hammered, and would go home and every time I wanted. I thought in my head at that age, I was like, I don't care what my mum thinks. I'm doing what
That's the
I
thing.
love.
I think everyone's been at that stage where they've been like, well, I did give a fuck what my family think, or I did give a fuck what my parents think. But for me, it's like I was a complete and utter opposite. Like, I couldn't give a fuck what my parents think about the way I act or what I do with my life.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't care. But if they were genuinely concerned about my well-being or genuinely concerned about me as a person, and I didn't see it, that's when I kind of started to think, right,
Well, with
I should
me,
maybe start paying attention.
With me, I used to get into arguments with my mum quite a lot. Well, not really. Like, we'd have an argument, I'd run away. And I wouldn't run away. Basically, what would happen is I would end up at my grandma's and my granddad's. And I would stay there a couple of hours and then go back until my mum was calm. I did once go missing for like 2 weeks. And that's because I was at my cousin's. I stayed at my cousin's for 2 weeks.
With me, like, I never got grounded. I never, like, my mum and dad never had to raise their voice at me or lift a hand at me. Obviously, back in the day, that was, like, acceptable for parents to do that to their kids. And my mum and dad had to with my brothers because they wouldn't listen.
My
but
mum
with me, it was complete opposite.
has never hit me. She's never hit me. I've accidentally headbutted my mum once, but that was because I can't remember what we were doing, but I accidentally headbutted her. But it weren't like a full force like whack, it was just, you know, a tap on the head like that, like a mistake. My mum, if like we're prattling about and I say, "Mum, do you want to fight?" like as a joke, she'll pretend to hit me, but she'll never hit me.
That's the thing, like, it's actually funny. There was one time when we stayed, like, in another house. I'm not going to say where because, you know, privacy reasons, but when we stayed in the house before we moved into this one.
Yeah.
So I've stayed here for 14 years. And before that, we stayed under, like, under these people that were an absolute fucking nightmare to stay under. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And there was one time Lewis and Mason were getting ready for school. Like we all were. We were at I think, was that high school? No, we were all still in primary school. And Lewis and Mason were arguing, and I don't know what they were arguing about. Boy stuff, I'm assuming. I don't fucking know. But they were arguing about something that fucking 12, 11-year-olds argue about, whatever that may be. And Lewis had picked up a rucksack that had jotters, like heavy books in it, and he threw it at Mason, and Mason ducked, and my mum was standing behind him, and it scorned my mum right in the face, and she had a bloody nose and everything. And my mum basically just said to Lewis and Mason, "Get the fuck out my house," and you can walk to school basically, which school wasn't far, it was like 10-minute walk.
Yeah.
But like my mum was pissed.
Yeah, my mum was being pissed, like.
But like, I think it was just the fact that like, literally that whole morning she was like, "Will you two shut up? Because if you didn't, some cunt's got to get hurt."
What? There was one time that really fucking pissed me off, and it was my older sister. She'd been spraying this very expensive perfume that my mum just bought. She just bought it. You know, my mum saved up a lot of money to get this perfume. She must have seen it at a perfume shop or something and smelled it and thought, "Ooh, I want it." She just bought it, and my mum was on a night out or something, and she came back and she could smell it. And because mine and my brother's bedroom was right next door to my mum's room, you could smell it in our room. But it was Haley spraying it, and mum comes in, and I was the only one in. Haley was in, but she was in the bedroom. Mum's like screaming the house down, going, "Who sprayed my fucking perfume?" I'm like, "It's not me." And she's like, "You're lying on it. I know it was you. I can smell it on you." So she's like, I'm lying in my bed, and Mum was really angry, and she threw the bottle, and it bounced off my dresser. I'll tell you the thing. Bounced off the dresser and hit me in the head. And that's the only time my mum's ever been properly angry at me. Like, she's been angry at me, and we've fallen out and we haven't speak for a while. Like, especially when I was with my ex, but that's because she hated her.
That's the thing, like, with me, my mum and dad have never, like, say if my mum was to ask me to do something, I'll say, I'll do it in a minute, but I will do it. Like, I will literally do it in a minute. But whether she asks, like, for example, my fucking dad, she'll ask my dad to do it and it'll get done next month.
Yeah.
Like, it's the exact same with Mason and Lewis. Like, she'll ask them to clean up a plate and it'll sit in the room or in the, like, fucking sink for hours, and my mum will end up doing them. But I feel like it's the way they behave is partly on my mum and dad, because they let us away with murder. They always have. Even now, like the way you've heard the way Mason speaks to my mum and dad, Like, and they just refuse to deal with it.
But the thing is, your mum, that's the thing, your mum now doesn't take any shit. Like, she don't take shit off Mason or Lewis or anybody.
Well, the
like,
last
even
time,
me, like,
the
I've
last time
lived
she
here.
took shit off of anyone, or the last time she stopped caring, was when Mason and her had a dispute about something. They can't what it was about, but they had a dispute about something. Can't remember. And whatever it was about, my mum went. Mason swore at my mum, and my mum went through his room, and she was like, "Who the fuck are you swearing at?" This was before you come up here. She was like, "Who the fuck are you swearing at?" Blah blah blah. And at the time, my dad was out. He was actually doing the lassie behind us, her decking.
Yeah.
And he was like shouting and bawling at my mum, so I go through to the room to basically tell them to shut the fuck up. And my mum literally, so Mason has a dresser with a hi-fi on it.
Yeah.
And you know where his bed is? That's where it used to be.
Yeah.
But he had a hi-fi and his Xbox on it, and my mum literally, I'm not even joking, there was cups and everything in front of it. My mum just ripped the whole fucking thing off the dresser, and it all went on the flare. And like there was coffee on the flare, tea and everything, and obviously Mason was like, with his attitude, he was like, "Well, you can clean that fucking up, blah blah blah." And then Mason decided that it would be a good idea to go down the stair, jump on top of my mum's car, and threaten to kick her her car windows in, which my mum needs that car for her work.
Yeah.
And before you all start saying, your brother's a cunt, blah blah blah, my brother has ADHD, but Mason's ADHD is more aggressive.
But that's the thing, like, me and Mason now and again don't see eye to eye. But, to be quite fair, Mason is quiet. Like, he
is now compared to what he used to be. So before, he never used to work. He did have jobs, but because he's ADHD, if someone tells him to do something and he doesn't like it, he will kick off.
Yeah, but it's like the other...
Like, basically, he had a job in Morrison's, and the guy said to him, "Can you take this trolley through the shop flare to the back at the buckets?" And Mason was like, "Nah, I'm no fucking trolley guy." Like, he was a cleaner, but he was like, "Well, I'm not taking it all the way through the shop."
Yeah, but to be quite fair, it's like...
He basically got fired for that.
It's like the other week when there was like that smell coming from his bedroom, and I turned around and went, "It fucking stinks," but...
Basically, Mason smokes weed. A lot of weed.
Well, basically is that, right? I could smell weed, and I turned around, not in a bad way, or like trying to like piss him off. I was gonna ask him what type of weed it was, because there's all different types, you know. There's blue cheese, lemon, Stardog and stuff, and I was trying to figure out why it was stinking, if you know what I mean. So as I was walking past his bedroom, I said to him, like, "Oh, that fucking stinks, Mason."
And he was like, didn't get wide in that. But the way I see it, because Mason smokes weed because he's got epilepsy, and the way weed works in the brain, it stops epileptic fits. It's the only reason he smokes it. But the way I see it, and I've told you this so many times, whenever Mason's in and you smell weed in the house, unless it's my mum and dad, do not say anything, because he'll just kick off. Whether he's in a good mood or a bad mood, he'll kick off.
Yeah, well...
And that's why when I smell the weed, I didn't say anything.
It kind of pissed me off. But then I was like, nah, because at the end of the day, there's Carol in the room, and I don't want to say out, and then it all kick off, and then I get the blame.
That's the thing, I've always said to literally everyone, like, unless you're my mum and dad, because they pay the rent in this house, and because they've bought everything that we own, keep your mouth shut. Because the only person that has a right to say anything is they two.
Yeah, but that's the thing, like, me and your mum and dad get on like a house on fire. Like, I've never done all that's actually affected your family.
Literally, the first day you come up here, Mason asked you if you smoke weed.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, your mum and dad, like, they're like a parent to me as well. Like, not saying that my mum wasn't, but like, I know if I have a problem, I can go to your mum.
That's the thing, like, everyone that's met my family, mainly my mum and dad, have always said, if there's ever a problem, I know I can go to your mum and dad.
Yeah.
But me being their child, and their youngest, and their only daughter, I have never been able to go to my mum with a problem, or my dad with a problem. Because, basically, before I got diagnosed with mental health, I used to do stupid shit. And my mum and dad found out, and they went fucking ballistic at me.
Yeah.
Like, literally screaming and shouting at me, and like swearing at me, and telling me that I'm fucking stupid and all this shit. And to me, that's really set me back. Because now, after that, I will never go to my mum and dad with a problem. If I have a problem, I deal with it on my own.
But it's like me, like I said, I weren't really close to my mum at that age, like, and stuff. But when I got older, it's like, my mum became my best friend. Like, I told my mum everything. Not sexual things, but...
Bull fucking shite. What did your mum say to you the day you left me? When we first met? Did you stay in?
Yeah, but that was only because...
You told her.
No. But anyway, like, I used to tell my mum a lot of things. And I used to speak to my mum. And me and my mum had long conversations about my real dad and stuff like that. And like, my mum's that type of person to not like badmouth anyone. She's never badmouthed anyone. The only person she's badmouthed, well, not badmouthed, but said something about was my ex. But
that's the thing, the only person my mum and dad really talk bad about is my dad's ex-wife and my mum's ex-partner. Mainly because my dad's ex-wife's a fucking rat. She messaged me a couple of weeks ago, basically saying that my mum and dad were shite parents, and like my brother Mason's a junkie and all this shit, right? She's my brother Liam and Sean's mum, and if they see this, fuck off, middle finger to yous. Anyway, that's their mum, and she has always had a grudge with my mum because her and my dad were going through a divorce, and my dad had met my mum at the time before the divorce was finalised. All the papers had went through the courts, they were just waiting on it being finalised.
She's the one who cheated on him though.
Aye, well, when they were together, the reason they got a divorce is because my dad had found out that she was sleeping with a different guy. And like, they ended up filing for, like, my dad filed for divorce, and he met my mum before the divorce was finalised. And she's always said, oh, my dad's cheated on her with my mum, and if he moved on that quick, my mum was always there and all this shit. My mum and dad got together just before their divorce was finalised. And what annoys me is she makes up so many lies about my dad, and like so much bullshit, and she tried to say one lie, which I'm not going to mention on here because I don't want people thinking my dad is what she said, but she said this one lie to Manny Maggie, and like Manny Maggie just shut her down. Manny Maggie was like, what are you slaving him? Like, you cheated on Billy because you're a slag. Like, you cheated on him, that's the reason you used to go to divorce.
That's the thing, I could talk about my ex if I wanted, and talk about how we broke up, and
I could talk about my mum and dad's ex a whole fucking podcast, I swear.
The same with me, but it's like, I have no reason to speak about her. Like, she's nothing to me, and I've even said it to her. If she jumped off a bridge, I wouldn't be sad that she's gone.
That's the thing, like, with me,
I don't have a passion to hate anyone.
With my ex, like, I didn't have any regrets. I didn't have any hatred towards anyone, literally anyone, even my dad's ex-wife. As much as, like, I could badmouth her on a podcast for hours, But I won't, because I'd be wasting my time and just giving her the fucking shit that she wants. But like with my ex, he was very cruel. Like, very cruel.
You just controlling.
And I wouldn't... I didn't regret anything that's happened, because if it didn't happen, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have the screwed on heat that I have today.
Well, you won't be with me, I don't think.
At the same time, it's like, I'm not even going to give him the time of day. Like, I didn't have enough hours in the day to say my piece about him.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I won't do it, because 1, I'm wasting my time, 2, I'm giving him what he wants, and 3, there's not enough hours in the day to get my point across.
Yeah, it's the same with me.
But I can guarantee you, if I could sit down with any of my exes for a day, they would hear fucking me for the rooftops. Because I would tell them how it is. Because I'm no the scared 14, 15-year-old I was back then. I am almost 19, and if anything, I have been like the most mature sibling my mum and dad's ever had. Like,
that's the thing, we've been together nearly 2 years now.
2 years in November.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, our relationship has grown a little bit stronger from when we first started.
That's the thing, I feel like we both say stuff and do stuff that, like, is hurtful.
Yeah.
We both do, and we both admit it, but I feel like we always work through it. Whether before, like, if I was a young, naive 18-year-old, then it would be completely different. But I've always said, and I'll always stick by it, I have been through so much more than an adult has as a child.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is, like, people that we know have spoke about our relationship, and like my older sister said, like, don't fuck it up, or like dickhead D did, you know what I mean, like where he was like, oh, he'll uses people for money and stuff like that. And
that's saying, like, if we ever broke up and people said to you, whether it be your sister Haley or dickhead, as we'll call them, literally any of them, if they say to you it's your fault, that's not the case. We broke up on a mutual disagreement. Like, it wasn't just your fault, it was our fault.
Yeah, well, like, we talk about it, like, sometimes we talk about break, like, what would happen if we broke up, but
that's saying, like,
knowing me, this is the thing, and I've said it to you, no matter what, even if we did break up, I would always want you to be part of my life, no matter what.
That's saying, like, with me, I can't hold a grudge. It's not that I can't, it's I didn't want to, because I'm giving, like, my life away to my past, and I have done it so many times, where my life has always been resulted in the past. But with us, I feel like it's different, because if we were to break up, even on bad terms, like, I would always want to try and work out, because I couldn't handle being like, right, well, that's another person that we're fucked up.
Look what happened when we started going out. This is basically, I'm going to tell you the story of how we fucking met. Right? So basically, I used to have a friend. I'm just going to call him Derek. Right?
I was literally just going to say that. You see, he used to have a friend. We both used to have a friend.
Well, they're both friends. Like, we're all friends. Right? I never met Cole. I didn't know anything about her. Right? And this is before we started dating, I'm saying. So, Derek used to ring me every day. And it was good to have someone from the past that I used to play PS3 with. You know, COD. You know, Black Ops. I used to play that game religiously with a lot of friends. We even had 2 new crews. But anyway, one day I'm on Xbox app on my computer, and I'm talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, so when you're getting your Xbox One?" And I'm like, "Well, I've pre-ordered it. Well, I've ordered it now. It'll be here in about a month or two." It was through the COVID time, so like CX weren't doing so great with their parcels, you know, that had to be a certain way, but mine was coming from all the way down north. No, where was it from? Wales. It was coming from Wales, so the package would have took a month to come. That's when I actually got my Xbox. But me, I'm going through, and he's like, "Right, so what are you gonna get when you get the Xbox One?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I want to get Call of Duty Warzone because I play that a lot with my friends, so I'm gonna get that. But I don't know how it works with compatibility, because like you could have Xbox One players playing with PS4 players, so I didn't know about it. Cross-platform, I should say. So I didn't know about it, and he was like, "Well, I've got a few friends that play it," and he told me a few. I added them, went onto their Discord, and they were like, "Yeah, well, as soon as you get it, we'll play with it." That means I had some friends to play with. I'm not playing on my own. It is a lot more harder playing Warzone on your own, and I used to do it for months when I first started on Warzone, before I started hanging around with Sean and Brendan and stuff like that, which bigs up Sean anyway, and Brendan. But yeah, it came to that, and I was scrolling through, and I noticed Cole's gamertag. I'm not going to say it,
I don't give a shit.
but I noticed the gamertag, and it had her profile picture as her, and I was like, "Who's this Cole then?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, don't add her, she's 14. I was like, "Okay, well, I won't add her. I wasn't gonna add her anyway. I was just asking who the people were."
Okay, Mum, I get so defensive.
Well, I asked everyone, like every person I saw on there, I would ask who it was, and like basically what happened was, I went onto Facebook later on that day. I didn't add Cole. I was like, "Oh, I'll just leave it. I won't bother." To be honest, I didn't even add anyone. I just asked him who they were and what they played and stuff like that, and shit like that. And like, I went on Facebook, and because Cole is mutual friends with my brother and his ex-boyfriend Roy, I was like, "You know what, fuck it, I'm gonna add her." So I added her, and I never add anyone. I never add anyone, and never add anyone on Xbox unless I actually know him. So like, I didn't add Cole, but I added her on Facebook, and we got talking, but to her it struck her as weird because, you know, I weren't the type of guy that was going on and going, "Ooh, you're sexy, you're hot," you know, stuff like that. It was just a casual conversation like, "Hi, how are you? What are you up to? I'm bored, and by the way, my name's Owen, but everyone calls me Clown," you know. And she said her nickname, which was Wee Cole, and stuff like that, and I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And we got talking for literally weeks on end. I think it was weeks on end. It was, wasn't it? When I first started talking to her, it was like weeks on end. Like, the first conversation we had was...
We had spoke for the 25th of November. No, it was the end of October. We started dating on the 25th of November. But 26th of November, and
this
then
is the thing, like, the way Cole is
I'm a legend.
legend. No, it's just like she's so down to earth, like me.
In other words, I'm a legend.
Like me, and I think it was my mum or one of them who said, "Oh, she's exactly like you. If you were a girl, Cole would be you, basically." And that's what made me fall in love with the wannabe legend.
I'm a legend. Yeah.
But that's the thing, before we even met, we were on phone calls, Xbox app.
Did you tell him about what he was like when he found out?
Yeah, I'll explain that after, but like, it was 24 hours a day we were on phone together.
You had to listen to my snoring, my heavy breathing, my farts in my sleep.
Yeah, your fart's good. I had to take the headset off.
That rude.
But yeah, do you want to explain that about Derek?
So basically, Derek the Ding Dong, he found out, like, he basically asked you if we were gonna.
Yeah, well,
and the problem is, he knew we were gonna, because, like, he knew that we were messaging, because he asked me, and I wasn't gonna lie, I was just like, yeah, whatever. And he basically automatically knew, because a month or two after you added me, you automatically have a girlfriend.
Yeah,
it's perfect sense.
The thing is, like, he basically messaged me and he was like, "Oh, can I join your party?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can join my party, but my girlfriend's not here yet." And I never mentioned her name. And the reason I wanted to keep it that is because every time someone was dating someone, rumours, and not rumours, but more like people would just talk like bullshit.
He used to invite you to a party and he'd message me on Facebook, and I've known Derek for near enough about 2 to 3 years at that point.
Yeah.
And we all met on Xbox. We all used to play like COD and stuff like that together. And he messaged me on Facebook and he was like, "Are you speaking to Clown?" And I was like, "Who the fuck's Clown?"
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Are you speaking to Owen?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he was basically saying like, "Join a party. Owen wants you to join a party." And I messaged you and I was like, "Do you want me to join a party? Because you never asked me." So, and I found it very weird that he was asking me but you never.
Yeah.
I was a bit like, so I messaged you and I was like, "Did you ask for me to join a party?" And he was like you said no. Like, join if you want, but no. I didn't ask.
If I wanted to, that's the thing I said. After you said that, I turned around to him and said, "You do realise if my girlfriend joins the party, this will be the first time we've ever spoken fully. I know it's weird that we started dating, but it was like..."
That's the thing, we started dating a day before we actually joined the party.
But that's the thing, like, we both... It was weird, because the night I messaged her, I said I had feelings for her. I didn't actually say, "Do you want to go out?"
No.
And then I was waiting
when we first messaged each other, you it's just normal conversation. "Hi, how are you?" Blah, blah,
No,
blah.
but I mean
but
the day before.
The day you asked me out, you went something along the lines of, "You're funny" or something. Like, you were basically fucking pissed. But
yeah,
he was basically. I said something and he said, "You're funny" or something, and then he was like, "I've got a question to ask you," and I was like, "Okay," shoot away, and he was like, "Will you go out with me?" And I thought about it for a minute, and I was like, "Nah, he's a bit of a cunt." And then I was like, "Yeah," and then it was so funny because he turned around and he was like, "Wow, you've just made my night."
Yeah, but no, me, I was in a very...
He was in a piss state.
Not just that, I was in a very dark place with my depression, my mental health then. So it was like to have someone that I could speak to, because I spoke to you pretty much nearly every day.
It was every day, 24 hours a day.
But it was like having you there was like my comfort, if you know what I mean. But not only that, like I did ask if you had feelings.
Also, I didn't even think we were going to have time to do one of these murder mysteries because we've been gone for an hour.
So
we'll do one, but I'm not doing both. Gonna be sitting here for hours. Anyway,
yeah.
but basically, he asked me out on the 26th of November. The next again day, Danny and you were in a party.
Yeah, Rick.
I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Danny, right? We're not saying his full name, so Danny, I kinda say we started off Derek. His real name's Danny, right? Whatever. But he was in a party with him and he messaged me out the blue and was like, he wants you to join. And I found it kinda off-putting that he was asking me to join for you and no you just asking me to join. That was a bit weird.
Yeah, but I was messaging
and you were messaging me at the same time, and I was like, I'll join in a minute. And I messaged Owen and I was like, did you just ask Danny to ask me to join a party? Bit weird because we are messaging. And he was like, no. And then Danny was like, left it for like half an hour, and then he messaged me again and he was like, we're on a party, come join. And I was like, no. And then we ended up, you left the party with, because I messaged, or you messaged me and you were like, I'm in a party with Danny and that, if you want I'll leave this party and invite you to a party and we'll sit and talk for a bit. And
before everyone comes in.
So that was basically the plan. So he left the party with Danny, me and him went in a party and we spoke. And Danny had actually went off Xbox for like an hour or two. And then he come back on. And as soon as he come back on that Xbox and saw that I was in a party with you, he messaged me straight away.
Yeah.
And he was like, are you in a party? Can I join? Like, all my mates aren't on yet. And I asked you, and you were like, tell him to join in a bit. So I told him to join in a bit. And we just spoke, and then we both went off it. Well, I went off the Xbox. I think you stayed on to play a game, but we were on the phone with each other.
Yeah.
And the next game day, Danny, literally, as soon as my Xbox went on, he messaged me and he was like, we're on a party, come join. And I think me and you were already in a party that morning, and I mentioned it to you, and you were like, Ken, what, fuck it, I'll just invite him. And so we invited him, and he invited some other lass that I don't know. But
she was one of my friends. It was one of the friends from COD, but I forgot her name because
that's saying like I didn't know her personally, but anyway,
she
they
was nice.
They
she
two
was
joined.
decent.
She was actually alright. They two joined, and Danny, like, he knew that we were dating, and Danny come in, and like at that point we had already told him that we were dating because obviously he heard us talking to each other. But they come in and Danny was just shouting over us, like the whole time. We were in the party for about an hour and he was just shouting over us constantly, and it got to the point where us two at the exact same time were like, Danny, will you shut the fuck up? Because him and this other lass were playing COD and we were just sitting chilling. And
yeah, I didn't think I had any games at that point. I was just...
I didn't think I was playing anything. I think I was just in the party, like on the party screen.
Yeah, we were just in the party screen.
But we were trying to talk and have a conversation. Like, I was quite quiet because whenever a new person's in the party, for example that lass, like, I go very quiet.
I said how you
but
talk because I knew it.
You basically said to me like, are you alright? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. But you couldn't hear me over fucking Danny shouting. And we both at the exact same time were like, Danny, will you shut the fuck up? You're dating our heathens, just shut up for 5 minutes, just shut up if you can do that. And so, like, he was like getting all defensive and like saying like why he's being so horrible or shit along the lines of like who he's talking, like just being a dickhead for no reason. And so we ended up kicking him, and then Danny invited the other lass to the party and she joined. But there was an incident where, like, so after the party had ended, Danny had messaged me and he was like, why are you being so mean to me? And I was like, Danny, 1, are you fucking 12? Why are you talking like a child? And 2, I'm not being mean, but if you're going to sit in a party with other people and have no respect for the others that are in the party, and you're just got to shout and talk shit.
It's like, we were having a conversation, the lass who was in there, she was quiet. As soon as we were like having a conversation,
that's the thing,
she was
like,
quiet.
Danny was talking to her, but shouting over us, trying to talk to her, and we were talking to each other. And the only time that lassie ever spoke was when Danny asked her a question.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, basically, like, we all left the party and we ended up phoning that night. And Danny messaged me and he was like, why are you being so horrible? I thought we were mates. And I was like, Danny, we were mates, but if you're going to sit and act like that in a party and have no respect for the others that are in the party, and, like, lie about my age to people on Xbox, knowing fine well what age I am, like, you're just being a dick for no reason. And I basically told him how it was. Like, I was just like, mate, you're being a cunt for no reason. There's no need.
It weren't just that. It weren't mainly attacking you. He was attacking me because the last that I met, Kathleen, I think her name was. She had a Discord where she would speak to her friends about COD, and that's where I met her basically. And the Xbox, but like we got talking, we went on video chat on Discord, and I was speaking to them both, getting to know her and stuff. And this is at the same time I'm dating you, and basically what happened is she couldn't speak English very well, so she was asking me a question, and she was like, how do you say warm in English? And I was like, warm? And she's like, no, the other thing when you're working out and you're sweating. I was like, hot. And she's like, that's it. So after that, anyway, she was using one of them running machines, what are they called? Treadmill, yeah. But she wasn't using it at that time when we were talking. I'm saying she was using it, and she said I get really warm when I'm doing it and stuff like that. And that's when she asked, what do you say? I was like that, and I was like, hot. And Danny twisted it and said that to her boyfriend in the Discord, that I was calling her hot and trying to flirt with her.
I'm sure he said it to me, because he messaged me some point after you were on Discord, and I think we were messaging as well, and at that time we weren't on the phone. I think it was either because I was out, or like I was doing something anyway, and for some reason we weren't on the phone. And he messaged me and he was like, by the way, Owen's sitting flirting with all these lasses. And I'm like, okay, like, I've been cheated on so many times, I don't give a fuck. But he was saying like, oh well, Owen's calling this other lassie hot and we were just in Discord and blah blah blah. And I was like, Danny, if Owen wants to flirt with other people, let him, because when I find out, that'll be it. And like, Danny was like, after he had told me that, you could tell that it was tickling on my mind if you were or not. Which obviously now I know you weren't, but it was tickling on my mind, and Danny was trying to be like the kind of big brother figure to me, and was like, it's fine, don't worry about it. And I'm like, Danny, you've literally just told me he's saying this. How come to you it's fine, but to me it's not? Like, it makes no sense. But he found out that we were together anyway, and after that Discord thing, and he messaged me and he was like, I thought we were mates. And I was like, Danny, we were mates, but you're being a dick. Like, sorry to break your heart, and like, you might have no thought you were but you're being a cunt. And he was like, well, if you want to be that way, I'll just block you. And I was like, Danny, block me. Like, I really couldn't care. I've got better things to do.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I gave him that's the thing. That when the start of it, he basically went on to Discord and he was saying to the lass, delete him, block him, he just uses people, he's just using coal, blah blah, fucking shite. He was just spreading shit. And this last turnaround, Kathleen, and she was like, no, why do I have to block him? He hasn't done up to me or you for us to block him. Like, he hasn't, like...
That's the thing, he did say to me the first time he found out that we were going out, he messaged me and he was like, this was after we had basically told him to shut the fuck up in a party, and he was like, oh, I thought we were mates, blah blah blah, and then like a couple minutes later he was like, by the way, I thought you should know a bit about Owen. He uses girls and he just wants money and sex and a place to stay and blah blah blah. And I was like, Danny, if he's using me, do you really think we'd be sitting on the phone 24/7? Do you really think, like, if I give him money, he's not got to give me it back when he already has? Like, all of this shite. And I was like, proving such a good point. I was like, Danny, I've gave him money and he's literally given me every single penny back.
I'll say this sense, right? I couldn't do bank transfers, so what I did for my girlfriend, who I love dearly, it was Christmas time, so I bought her a game.
He bought
I bought you a gift card.
Basically like a gift card coupon code then.
Yeah, for Xbox, but that's because we were talking about doing Resident Evil 5 together. And I bought Resident Evil 5 as a gift and sent it to you when I...
No, but that's the thing though, like... So basically, for December 2020 to February 2021, I had given you... No in that space, but I'm saying like, I had given you 80 quid. And he had bought me two £25 gift cards. He also, when you go up here, you bought chocolates, you bought me my favourite crackers, which I didn't actually eat them, but it's
I got you because it was the day before we were coming up and I got paid, and that's when I gave your dad that 100 quid, you know, for coming down. I was like going to Murray's for the last day to get food for myself for that night. I don't know why I bought microwave bowl meals, but I bought like 6 of them. And I was in Murray's and you were on the phone to me as normal, and I was talking to you and you were like, oh, I'm gonna have my Ritz. Like my Ritz crackers.
No, I was saying to you, my Ritz crackers are almost done. Because, call me weird, right, but I eat Ritz crackers with fucking peanut butter.
Yeah.
Come at me, but it's
that's
banging.
it. And I was walking around the shop and I saw these containers that had like them takeaway cup things, and I was like, one had an N on it, and I was like, oh, I'll get that for Cole and I'll get one for myself, which I did. But then I was walking down the crackers aisle and I was like, you know what, I fancy some cream crackers. So I get there anyway and I saw the Ritz and they were on sale, 2 for, I think it was like £3 or something, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking buy them. But because I remembered a week before that you were saying my Ritz are nearly out, because it was a week before, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get my girlfriend.
Ken, what's accurate, right? The day we went down to get him, so me and my dad drove from Edinburgh to England, and the day me and my dad went to get him, I needed a pee that bad that I wouldn't get out of the car. And he got in my car, or my dad's car, with a box of Ritz crackers, a tub of peanut butter, and like that cup, and I'm sure he bought chocolates as well, which again I didn't actually eat, but it's the thought that counts. But like, as I was saying with Danny, like, I had given him 80 quid. Most of it went on backy. So in December 2020, I think it was either the 26th or 24th, either way, it was nearly Christmas, and I'd actually got £100 put in my bank, and I'd transferred Owen £15 to get tobacco, and then like a couple like weeks later I transferred him another 15. Anyway, added up to 80 quid. But no matter what, without fail, like as I said, he bought 2 gift cards for Xbox, 2 £25 gift cards for Xbox. He bought the Ritz. He bought a £50 gift card. If anything, he gave me more money than I gave him. But he bought 2 £25 ones, a £50 ones, the Ritz, the peanut butter. I remember you getting in the car with peanut butter as well, and that cup. So all together, that added up to even more than I gave you.
That cup, like, I don't know what it is, but every time I walked into the shop, I would see them cups, and they never had like O or like an N. And that time, it was accurate, just the right time to get them, because it was the day before you were picking them up. And the thing is, like, the day we first ever met was on the 26th of September, and I had come up from England to Edinburgh, and I bought her a big massive teddy,
which cost him fucking, what was it, 15 quid?
Yeah, 15. And
which
she
now
bought,
the niece has stolen it.
She bought me a dog, but I call it Miss
Well,
Wolfie.
it is a wolf. But basically, when we went into the shop, I saw a small elephant. My favourite animal is an elephant. And I saw a small
wolf.
elephant teddy, and I said to him, I'm going to go in and buy that teddy. And he was like, nah sister, I'm getting you a teddy. And I was like, well, I'm fucking buying it, bitch. So there you have it. And he was like, no you're not, I'm buying it. So he goes into the shop, never mind the fucking elephant, he picks the biggest one on the shelf.
No, because
actually, now that I think about it, there was an elephant right next to the fucking teddy bear, the exact same size.
Yeah, but I can't remember.
You didn't buy me the teddy bear.
That's the thing. She thought I was buying it for myself.
Like, I thought he was going to buy his cell one and I was going to buy my cell one, because I was adamant I was fucking paying. And turns out he actually bought me a massive fucking teddy bear, which the next again day I had to carry home on the bus.
Yeah, but this is the thing, like, I don't know if people know when they feel like they're in love. The day I was leaving, I had my teddy, Miss Wolfie. And by the way, yes, I'm into teddies. Does not make me a fucking gimp or puff. I like my teddies. Right? If you have a friend inside, good on you. If you don't, you're a fucking prick who just thinks with his dick. Right. Anyway, she had this specific perfume on. Right? I loved the smell of it, and I swear to God, as soon as we got into that hotel, I was fast asleep, laying on her. I couldn't help but smell it. But Miss Wolfie, the teddy, had her perfume on. And by the way, the train journey was about an hour from where I was to Edinburgh. But I had to wait around the train station. And when I got onto the train, like, I had this sinking feeling that I was losing a loved one, like they were on their deathbed and I didn't have time to say goodbye. That's what it felt like. And every night before she picked me up, before her and the dad picked me up, I would sleep with that teddy next to me 24 hours.
That's it. Speaking of that fucking perfume, let me just tell everyone what you done with that perfume. Basically, I went to my gran's to drop off the washing, right, because my fucking washing machine's broken. Bit of a piss take, but anyway, I went down to my gran's with the washing and my niece. I said to him, please do me a favour and clean the room for me getting back. So he did so. Come back, and I was like, where's my bottle of perfume, because I wanted to wear it that day and I didn't put it on before, and I went, where's my bottle of perfume? This fucker sprayed my favourite fucking perfume on my bed. All over my fucking bed.
Well,
and I only had the tiniest wee fucking bit left.
It helps me sleep, alright? But anyway, that's...
You wasted my good perfume on my bed. No, didn't even change the subject. You wasted that perfume on my bed.
The waste was barely any in it. Anyway,
that wee bit of perfume would have went on my
Anyway, domestics later.
Nah, we're done. Nah, out the podcast now. This is my podcast, bitch.
So, anyway, that's is basically our life story and how we met. And
yeah, if you want to join in and hear about us, let us know.
Now she regrets.
Oh, damn right. Fuck. Tell you what, if you're a young girl, right, say, I don't know, 13 to 18, never get a boyfriend. Especially an English one. They're cunts.
She's a Scottish nippy little bitch. That's what she is. At times, like, I swear to God. She talks about me hogging the fucking covers, right?
No, right.
I woke up.
I'm not even joking. Last night, right, you were sleeping. You were like a newborn fucking child. He was sleeping with his head behind his head, or his hands behind his head, with his elbows out like a fucking chicken. Literally lying, legs spread, fucking Patrick Star bitch on the bed.
How she sleeps, right?
But to be quite
she falls asleep on the side looking at the wardrobe. Right? She never faces me. She don't want to see my elbow.
No, but there's a reason why. Because where my bed is, it's in the middle of the room, right? I sleep on the right side of the bed, facing my wardrobe, because there is a story why I do not sleep facing the window, which is for when I'm younger. But we'll get into that once he said his little rant. Go on, have a rant, bitch.
She sprawls out, and what happens is her elbows end up in my fucking face, or at times her legs end over my legs, so I can't fucking move.
How many times have you elbowed me in the heat?
How many times did you kick me?
Because you literally,
me.
Even when we're just lying in bed watching the telly, you will sit with your elbow like that. So I turn my head and fucking conk right in the temple.
Anyway, do you want to tell me?
Anyway, the reason why I didn't sleep facing the window is because when I was younger, I was about 7 or 8. We stayed in a 4-bedroom house. And the neighbours upstairs were the planks I was telling you about earlier, where like they were just the worst cunts to stay under. They basically were having a dispute with some people, one of their like brothers or their son, whatever. We're having a dispute with one person, and he basically got all his wee shite pals to come and smash their house windows. And when you look at the front of the house, it looks like it's just all one big house.
Yeah.
It looks like it's an upstairs downstairs. But in reality, my house was the downstairs and theirs was the up. And the doors were on the side, so like you would have just thought it was all upstairs downstairs. But anyway, these people thought it would be a great idea to come and smash the windows. But they only smashed, so they smashed 2 bedroom windows on the front. So my mum's bedroom was at the front and mine was at the front. And they had threw a boulder, literally the size of my head, through my bedroom window. And where my bed was, it was right under the window, so it would have landed on my pillow. And they had threw a glass bottle through my mum and dad's room windows, and it hit the wall and all the glass fell into my dog's cage. But lucky for me, I was actually sleeping at the bottom of my mum and dad's bed like a fucking dog myself. Because like at the time I used to have bad nightmares, and literally like I would refuse to sleep in my room after that. The only time I slept in my room again was when we moved in here.
That's the thing, like we had a lot of trouble with our next door neighbour. Living up Old Town in Hebden Bridge was like, we grew up there. You see, we grew up in Hebden, so my mum knew a lot of people, but the thing is, like, we're hanging around with trouble. Like, these are families that think they're better than anyone else. Like, I'm not going to name names out of the 2 families, but they thought they were better than everyone else. I'll tell you 2 stories about it. Cole knows about one of them. But one day me and my brother were at home. It's just me and my brother. And my brother used to smoke, like fags and backy and stuff. So did I. But this guy called Christian comes knocking at our door, right? And he's saying to my brother, give us a fag. And my brother's like, I haven't got any. Which was true, he didn't. So they barge into our house. And they're still demanding fags. And they kick the fuck out of my brother and break his nose. My brother's not a fighter. Neither was I then. But they broke his nose because he wouldn't give a fag. And these people lived next door to us. And my brother was that scared he didn't press charges. Because Christian's dad was a big built fucking bald headed prick. Just like his whole family. Yeah. We were terrorised by two families because we were different. We rather kept ourselves to ourselves and have cunts like that who think they're privileged to have a family.
Basically, Owen's family just didn't know to fight the whole fucking street.
Reason why my mum moved is not because of them lot. She moved because of my sister's ex being a dirty little scrub he is. I moved out with him into a flat in Boothtown in Halifax, and that pussy fucked off back to my mum's house to be with my sister. And he trashed the house. And I mean, I went up once whilst I was still living in Boothtown, and the kitchen was like a hoarder's fucking kitchen. He didn't know how to scrub a plate. And literally his feet had athlete feet, and you could fucking smell it from a mile away. That's why my mum moved out. But we all moved out. The Delics, as I'm gonna call them, were all faggots and pussies. They actually got battered by a guy called Liam Jones, and you can find the newspaper up on Hebden Bridge Time. He used to get terrorised by that family, and they terrorised him, and he went out and battered them with a golf club. But that's exactly what they tried to do with us. They basically terrorised us, but we just moved away. We moved away. I haven't been in Hebden in years, and I don't want to go back because I don't want to have to deal with cunts like that who still think they have privilege. But it was funny because Christian met my mum on the bus, and he apologised to my mum on the bus, and he tried to do it to me, and I just told him, why the fuck would I want to be friends or accept your apology when all this time you just thought it was okay, like, to beat on people, to think you're an hard man, you know. And I'm sure now, and it all started because he had a kid. I'm not saying he's like bad now, but I have no grudge against him. I have no reason to have revenge. But the thing is, if I found out in the newspaper in Hebden Bridge that he got stabbed or shot, his own fault. The reason why is because he was a bully. His family were a bully. Same with the Devils. They were bullies. And nobody likes them. And they even tried to get my mum fired from a fucking job, saying that she was stealing money out of the till, when they found out it was June who was stealing the money. And that's our family who fucking lives up there.
That's the thing, like, the only person that I really, or the only two people I really resent is my brother Liam, because he's an absolute asshat, and I'll explain that situation in a minute, and his mother, because she's an absolute bitch and all.
So, sorry I went on a rant, but it just, that's the thing, it brought back feelings that I've kept in for a long time, and that I hope he sees this and he recognises what my name is, and he recognises what I'm on about, because these people are classed as scumbags and they deserve karma. But it's not going to be karma from me. I'm not going to get my fucking revenge. I could have done it a long time ago, but I never did.
That's the thing, like, with my brother Leon, like, he's just... Be quite fair, words can't explain what that cunt is. Like, my brother Leon and his mother, so basically, his mum and my dad got a divorce, and when Leon was probably in the early teenage years, probably late teenage years, my mum and dad took Liam in because his mum couldn't handle him. And Liam and my two older brothers, Stuart and Stephen, hated each other. Literally resented each other. They would fight, they would argue all the time. And Liam went back to stay with his mum, and I fucking hope he sees this because he pisses me off. But he basically is a druggie, and like he's in and out of the jail, drug offences, fucking car offences, you name it, he's been in the jail for it. Except murder, but wouldn't surprise me.
Well, he would try, but he'll probably end up getting
that's the thing, like, he's been in and out of jail, and the last time his mum messaged me, which wasn't even that long ago, his mum was basically saying, like, my mum and dad are horrible people, and my brother Mason's a junkie, and Mason smokes a wee bit of weed, and my mum and dad were the people that took curse on him when she kicked him out. But, like, he phoned Lewis, my older brother Lewis, he phoned Lewis in December 2020, so just bore Owen got up here, and it was just after Christmas, I think, just before New Year's, and he phoned Lewis, and Lewis come through to my room, and he was like, Nicole, Liam wants to speak to you. And I was like, well, if Liam wants to speak to me, tell Liam, like, give Liam my phone number and he can phone me. So he did, and he phoned me, and he was like trying to play the big brother role and say, oh, I love you, and you're my wee sister, and I'd do anything for you, and if anyone hurts you, let me know and I'll sort them out, and all this shite. And to me, it goes in one ear and comes out the other, because Liam, when we first moved into the house that I'm in now, this was 14 years ago, when we first moved into this house, Liam come up to see us the first ever time we moved into this house, and he had basically promised us that he was going to take us on bike rides and go to the beach, and we were going to go to the safari park and all this shite, and he never once kept his promise, because Liam is too busy sleeping with lassies and getting a new relationship with fucking junkies and doing drugs under a bridge and staying with his fucking mother and all this shite, where Liam doesn't care what a promise is, because Liam has never kept one. Liam's been promised so much and it's never been kept. And Liam, basically when he phoned me, he was saying, oh well, you can meet me up town and we'll go for a coffee. And then it changed to, let's meet up town and we'll go to my mum's. And at the time, because I'd never spoken to Liam's mum, so at the time I was a bit like, right, we'll meet. And after his mum had messaged me, which we never ended up meeting, because he was like, I'll phone you and we'll arrange a time and date and stuff like that. He never ever phoned me again. But he basically, like, after his mum had messaged me, that was when I was like, I'm not going near his mum, because there will be an argument and there will be a fight.
That's the thing, it's like, my family's lost touch with each other. Like, I barely speak to my older sister, or my younger sister, or my brother.
That's the thing, my problem is with Liam, is he's promised so much, and like, he won't message me directly. Like, for example, when, like, on Facebook, I changed my profile picture to a picture of us, and everyone was commenting on it, like, yous are good together, blah blah blah, like, it's nice to see yous are happy and things like that. And Liam comments on it saying, I'm actually going to find the comment because it pissed me off so much, but he commented on it, and like, it annoys me because, like, why comment on it? Why can you not just message me directly? Like, oh, your mum did message. She said, yes, ring me, sorry, was at Steve's, just got home.
Alright, I'll ring you in a bit.
But, like, my problem is, Liam will comment on my posts, and he'll message Lewis and Mason. What about me? Do I just no exist?
After just message him.
This is what annoys me about him, because it's like he'll message me or he'll comment on my post, but he won't message me directly. And he's offered Lewis and Mason to go buy a pint for him, but what about me? Like, I just didn't exist to him.
Yeah, it's
Is it this one? So he messaged me on. This was 9 weeks ago. I posted a picture of us two on Facebook, and he said, "Hey kid, how are you?" And I just commented back just because he did say, "Hey kid, how's you ex?" as in kiss, and I went, "Not bad, no ex." But there was another one.
Yeah, it's family, isn't it? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, because it pisses me off. He's a cunt.
That's the thing, like,
No, that's your birthday, yeah.
like, family doesn't, like, if they don't bother with you, why bother with them? That's what I say.
That's saying, like, my problem, like, I've always said, I always want something to do with my brothers, because it's,
yeah, no, it's just,
another picture of this. Oh, I don't know.
oh yeah, I just wanted to do something.
What? Message your mum? What do you want me to say?
Yeah, wanted you to link it. Just tell her what we're doing.
Can't link it because I'm on the fucking phone, you ding dong.
Just tell her. It's on your wall, you punk. Yeah, no, like, family doesn't really bother with me. We keep ourselves to ourselves. It's not like I don't love my family, because I do. It's just sometimes we lose contact. But with her family, it's a lot more complicated.
That's the thing, like, I feel like it's a lot more complicated because, like, my mum and dad both had kids for two separate relationships, and then they had me, Lewis and Nathan. But I feel like Stuart and Stephen, fine. Like, they're my brothers, love them dearly. But Sean and Liam, like, not so much Sean, but Liam, he's the type of person to promise shit and then it never comes. Like, for example, when he phoned me asking to meet up, I've not spoke to Liam since, but that's mainly because he's in and out the jail.
It's weird, but yeah, I've had a lot of friends that have gone in and out of jail. It's like my best mate Briggsy. He probably doesn't care. He's not. That's the thing. He's not a YouTuber. Like, he doesn't bother with YouTube. So Briggsy, it doesn't matter. But me and Briggsy, we used to hang out quite a lot, like every day. But he was in and out of jail and other stupid stuff, you know. But we never lost contact. The thing is, he was like an older brother to me. So
that's the thing, like, there's been so many times, especially 2020, when Liam said that he was going to message and he never did.
That's the thing, the last time I spoke to Briggsy was in 2018. I have not spoken to him since. But that's the thing, he came up, he came to see me, and we drove around in his new car that he... You see, Briggsy was a mechanic. He used to kit up cars. He would buy cars, kit them up, and then, you know, like, value them about. Also, he's got a decent job now, where he works on WRC company cars, which is basically World Rally Championships. He works on rally cars. He's a pit mechanic. Also, he wants to be a rally driver now. But yeah, he came up and we spoke to him. And the thing is, he was in jail from 2014 to 2017, early 2017, when he got out. It was a misdemeanor or something. I can't remember what it was about, but he just got out, and the first place he went to was his mum and dad's. Spoke to his mum and dad's, and his older brother, and his younger brother, and then he came to see me. But the thing is, I went on to visit him in prison because I weren't family, so...
That's the thing, like, with Liam, the only person that will visit Liam in the prison is his mother. Because, according to Liam's mum, the sun shines at that cunt's arse.
But, a bit like that creepy bastard, Jamie.
Oh, he's a fucking nonce anyway. We'll get to him in a minute, because we've got a whole lot of fucking shit to say about him. But, it takes all my strength just to message Liam and be like, why are you no arse? Like, does it no affect you more than anyone that you didn't have a relationship with any of your siblings other than Sean? Like, does that no affect you?
That would, I mean, me and Nick don't really have a relationship anymore, like, not a close bond anymore, but that's the thing, like, when I was younger, like, me and Nick, we did pretty much everything.
That's the thing, like, with you and Nick, at least you can, if you message Nick, you'll get a reply. Whether if I was to message Sean or Liam, I'm probably not getting a reply till next year.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like...
I feel like that's why it affects me mostly, because there has been some times where, like, I've been in a really dark place.
You needed someone.
Like, it's not even that I needed someone, it's just, like, sometimes it just feels like... Sometimes I'll just sit and I'll think, like, why is it that my brother Liam doesn't want nothing to do with me?
It's not like...
What have I done to him to deserve
that's what I'm saying,
being
like,
put in this position?
What I'm saying is, like, you haven't done all.
That's thing. Most people will say to me, forget Liam, he's a fucking arsehole, but at the end of the day, he's still my brother.
Yeah.
And I've got a relationship with all my brothers except Sean and Liam. So why is it just all of a sudden he's the only brother that wants nothing to do with me?
Well,
like, I can guarantee if I message Sean, I'd get a reply. Maybe no a good relationship reply, it'll probably be a short conversation, but at least I'd get a reply. With Liam, if I message him, I'm not getting a reply for decades.
Yeah, well, fuck him. That's what I say. But, yeah. Like, it's weird, because, like, me and Nick didn't really have a correspondence until we got the PS2. Like, Nick's the one who got me into Resident Evil. Actually, sorry, no. My stepdad, Steve, got me into Resident Evil. Nick got me into, like, Final Fight, actually. And also, like, GTA, the GTA series. Like, he got me into that. I remember my mum decided Nick needed his own room. So we had a dining room and a living room attached together. And my mum was like, right, well, Nick was complaining about having to share a room with me. So my mum decided to put a bunk bed in the dining room, and Nick had the dining room as his bedroom, and we had the living room as normal. But it had two separate doors, you see. We had one normal door and then one glass door that slid across, and we had another one that was attached to the kitchen. So basically we had three doors. My mum took off the doors for the glass bit, but when Nick was in there in the dining room, he would have them closed, and we had one bedroom door and that was it. But his PS2 was always set up.
That's the thing, believe it or not, me and Mason and Luce used to share it after our windows got smashed, because we stayed in that house for another year or two after that, and I refused to sleep in that room. So that room was basically, it still had a bed and stuff in it, but it was basically a spare room.
Yeah.
And me, Lewis and Mason used to share a room.
Well,
But we actually had this thing, because I had like an old Nokia brick, and we had this hang where we'd, like, at the time we didn't see anything wrong with it, because we were young and stupid, but we had this thing where we'd dare each other to phone the police.
oh yeah,
And I'm sure everyone's done it as a kid, but
yeah.
like, it rang through, 'cause I put it on loudspeaker, it rang through, and then, like, I got kind of scared, so I hung up straight away.
Yeah,
No one ever come out, so if I was dying...
Yeah, they've got better technology to track people now. But, saying that, like, my fondest, like, not my fondest memories, but I was a bit obsessed over GTA Vice City when it first came out.
Ending, so been gone for almost 2 hours.
So I was a little bit obsessed over it, and Nick used to have his PS2 set up. So when he was asleep, I would sneak in, turn it on, and then have the volume down at like 1, 2, and I would load up what save he's on, and I would just drive around and like prat about.
That's the thing, I used to do that in number, is it 4, with Gay Tony and that.
Yeah,
I used to do it in that one and in GTA 5, where I'd go into like a private online game and just drive about for hours on GTA 5. And it's funny because I saw a TikTok by a YouTuber that we both watch, Arthur TV, and he was like, I hate it when people judge you for acting like GTA is real life, where you drive around and clear your heat, but it actually works.
Well, that's the thing. GTA 5, Rockstar is probably one of my favourite gaming companies. Same with NetherRealm Studios and Warner Brothers at the moment. With GTA 5, they made it so it was realistic. So, for instance, when you go against the cops, like, it's not like the old ones where you could spend hours and hours just shooting at cops or killing the cops. Like, you're more than likely gonna die straight away when it comes to the cops, but obviously it's like fictional storytelling, you know, with like Michael and Trevor and what's his name, like all of them is like fictional. But I sometimes just used to go into GTA 5 and like play the game, but like as if it was real life. So I would stop at traffic lights, so I would try and abide by the rules of the game, well, abide by the laws, I should say, and stuff like that. Always took the left turn and like signals and stuff like that. But that's what the game's meant for. It's meant to be fun and entertaining and stuff, but you know, that's what it's built for. But most of the GTA games are like that. Like, you could play the games and abide by the laws and stuff, but you know, you didn't have to. You could still have fun. But there's like, I have guilty games that most people don't like Final Fight Streetwise flopped.
Also, we'll go for another like 20 minutes or something because I put water on.
Like stuff like that. Like Final Fight's one of my guilty pleasures to play.
My guilty pleasure's always been The Sims.
That's the thing. I
literally since Sims 3, Xbox 360, it's always been Sims.
Sims 2, Age of Empires. Fucking hell, I love them games. I had a lot of fun memories of Age of Empires with Nick. My older brother Nick, he's into like the strategy games, so like Dynasty Warriors, fucking amazing franchise. I haven't played them in years, but I still enjoy watching them. They've changed the dynamic of the game, and also Age of Empires has changed. The Age of Empires, they haven't made another series. They've done remasters of like number 1 to 3. Not number 4, I mean, but they haven't made another Age of Empires yet, which I hope they do. Because Age of Empires is just a brilliant strategy building game. It's it has a unique ecosystem to it. So it's not just about war. You have to take care of your villages. You have to have wood, fire,
kill them all,
stuff like that. And
that's what I do.
another great game, Black and White. Another one where you play as God. And
You know what's a good game? Fucking Sonic Mania.
Mm.
We done, I think it was our first stream where we talked about video games and board games. Fucking Sonic Mania, man.
I could pull up loads, but I think in the next stream we are definitely going to do the 2 murder mysteries we've got, but also like we'll probably take 5 minutes of talking about other stuff.
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be 5 minutes this stream, and this stream was supposed to be murder mysteries, but we talked for an hour and 48 minutes.
But yeah, we'll just keep this one as it is, chatting about school life and how we met and stuff and childhood memories. Some were bad, some were good.
I'm beefing about cunts that we hate.
Yeah, but yeah, we've got subjects, but the thing is, we might actually start making these streams a lot longer. Because we've got subjects that we want to talk about, but we just never get around to talking about.
Also, I'm eating a fucking soft roll, leave me alone. But we might do one of these, like, if it's a subject that we find interesting but didn't find it suitable for YouTube, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, other people might not find it interesting. Might do them on Twitch.
Yeah, no, we don't want suggestions about sexual things or what we think's inappropriate. I don't want any inappropriate stuff. I
don't want nothing personal about, like, our relationship
or our lives
or family too much. Like, obviously we've let out about a portion of that today, but
like that's the thing. When I first started doing YouTube, I wanted to do podcasts, but it was so hard doing podcasts on your own. But the thing is, I did sometimes used to sit and record myself. I don't know if I still got them, but it was me talking about stuff, but I would talk to myself, or I would like have friends come in.
That's the thing, believe it or not, if you think about it, because this channel used to be mine, and I used to do makeup videos, and like at the time it was popular to do a what's in my school bag video, where it was just like your school stuff, or like supply hauls and shit like that, like school supplies and stuff. And my channel was pretty much just a massive podcast. They were all just short.
Yeah, but
and I did all of them on mine.
The thing is, I enjoy talking. I do enjoy.
I know
talking.
sometimes you never shut the fuck up.
But I do want to make the podcast a lot longer, especially if the subjects are like murder mysteries. I want them.
Suggest murder mysteries for us today.
Yes,
some that are not popular. So like all around the world, but some that aren't popular.
Even if it's in your local area, and it's a murder mystery, or even that, just something creepy, anything creepy. You tell us the story.
Actually, Ken, what? I want people to suggest us creepy stories that have happened to them. If they want.
Yeah.
So like, what I was planning to do is I was going to set us up a Reddit so people could send us their own stories or creepy videos they want us to have a look at, or creepy stories they would like us to talk about.
Also,
all that kind of stuff on our Reddit.
Also, I did have an idea before of top 10 scary videos, where we pick out the most scariest videos we think are
scary. The only
scary.
problem is the website we went on yesterday for the scary/funny stories they videos don't load,
Yeah,
so it's
but-
like we can't pinch them off of that.
No, but we're gonna do stuff like that. But it's gonna be in the podcast. It's just gonna be played, but we're gonna talk about them after, I think. And even that, like, we tried a little bit of a play around where it was like, see if you can spot where the creepiest is in the picture. I might start doing that a little bit more.
You say you might start.
Well, we might.
I'm the one that sets up the podcast.
Yeah, you're the editor and that's it.
I'm not the editor.
Editor!
I don't edit it. I'm the one that sets everything up.
It sets everything up because she never lets me have a shot.
Because it's my computer bit.
But yeah, give us suggestions, or even that, if you got any creepy photos, and just send them us. Just send them to us.
Just fucking do it.
But yeah, by the way, this podcast is not for kids.
If you don't send us fucking creepy videos, I'm coming to your house and I'm going to shank your nan's kneecaps.
A bit aggressive.
I'll shank yours or not.
She probably would. But I hope you enjoyed. My name is Owen, also known as Carl.
I was Nicole. Not anymore.
Now it's Ruby.
Yeah, you changed my name for some reason.
Ruby Red.
It would have actually been better called Clinical, not gonna lie,
But anyway, we shall see you in the next podcast, which is one of them.
Bye, kisses.
Not after you said you're going
You
to shank
kisses.
me. Shank is done.
Do kisses.
But yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
No, we won't. You'll be dead and I'll be hiding from the police.
So, pieces, boys and girls.
See ya. Wouldn't